Hey everyone, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in to Chopping at the Bit. You already know who it is, Kyle Edwards. Now, it's been a couple of days since I've done an episode, but you guys should know by now. If I don't upload an episode here, that you know where to find me, whether it's Sports Empire Network or JJL Sports Talk Show. So, even though I'm not posting on here, I'm still very active in terms of uh, episodes being posted somewhere. But we'll try to do uh, more and more on here to fit in with that schedule I have, with those two places. But this episode, want to talk about the Boston Bruins. I haven't talked about the Bruins yet this season. Big fan, being from Boston. I grew up watching hockey and big time Bruins fan. So if you haven't been paying attention, they've gotten up to a really good start. They're 12-2-0. They have 24 points, which I believe is good enough for second best in the league. The Vegas Golden Knights have 26 points, so they played an extra game. So Bruins are right there. You can make the argument that they're the best team in the Eastern Conference of the NHL. I know the Devils have had a good start as well, but the Bruins sit first place in the Atlantic Division, and I think it's surprising, as the title of the video told you, because coming into this season, a lot of people were kind of writing off the Bruins because their core was getting a little bit older. Marchand, Bergeron, Krejci. So it's kind of looking at maybe the last stand with that group. And then there were a lot of question marks, I believe, with the younger players as to whether or not the mix was good enough. Goaltending was a question coming into the season, but so far they've really answered all those questions. And for me, I think there's three keys to why. And looking at this, I'm looking at three players who I actually went with one forward, one defenseman, and a goalie to kind of explain why the Bruins have played so well so far this season. But before I get into that, I got to give a lot of credit to Jim Montgomery, who took over for Bruce Cassidy. Now, Bruce Cassidy was, I think, a fan favorite, but it seemed like the the talent on the team was kind of split on him. We know about the publicized Jacob DeBrusque, Bruce Cassidy kind of mini battle that they had where I think DeBrusque had his trade demand because, as reported, he wasn't a fan of playing for Cassidy. But now Cassidy's gone. I think is Bruce Cassidy in Vegas. He might be the new coach in Vegas, I think. So, um, you know, happy to see him doing well over there. But I will say Montgomery seems to have brought in a little bit of a different approach to this Bruins team. From when I watched them play, it seems like their penalty kill. They're very aggressive with opposing teams, where they're not just sitting back in a zone trying to get their stick and shooting lanes and all that. They're actually attacking players out towards the blue line to force turnovers and dumping the puck out. And then offensively, they they look pretty similar offensively. Now I will say that on the power play, I think they have a little bit more puck movement and player movement, but we saw that with Bruce Cassidy and power play, and even the penalty kill with Bruce Cassidy was still pretty good. But it just seems like I don't know. Montgomery's got them playing a little bit differently, and I like what I've seen so far out of him. To be honest with you, I didn't know a lot about Jim Montgomery, but I knew he came from the Dallas Stars. I think with the past couple of seasons, Dallas Stars have been decent, but I've liked what I've seen from him, so I got to give him a lot of credit for this as well. But in terms of the players, I think I have to give Pasternak a lot of credit. He leads the team with 22 points, 9 goals, 13 assists. He's been a key staple along amongst the forwards because at the start of the season, Marchand wasn't available. He came back earlier than expected, and he's been really good. Bergeron's been steady as normal. Krejci coming back from Europe, and can't remember where he was, but he was in Europe last season. Came back to the Bruins. He's looked pretty good. DeBrusque, I gotta say, he's looked good as well. But I gotta say, Pasternak has been the best forward on the team so far. Lindholm has been a welcomed addition to the defensive group. He's clearly the number one guy amongst the defense. So far, it seems like he's been more involved offensively. You know, I believe he was advertised as a puck moving defenseman. I've seen him creating rush on power plays, getting up ice, dumping it in, or, you know, passing it to forward just entering the zone. He's been really good at that. Defensively, like I said, he's been steady. You could, if you look at the stats, he's a plus 15, which wherever you stand on that stat in terms of it being credible or not, it means something as a defender to be plus 15, which means when you're out there, other teams aren't really scoring goals. And then the third part of the equation has been Olmark. Coming to the season, I thought the job was probably going to be Jeremy Swayman's to lose, but Olmark has just played too well that he's allowed Montgomery and the Bruins to. I mean, I don't know if it's let Swayman continue to develop, whether it's in practice or whatever, but Allmark has played like a number one goalie. So I think he's definitely earned the right to be the number one goalie. I mean, when you put up numbers of 10 and 1 with a 1.95 goals against average, that's definitely number one material. So hopefully he can keep that up and be the leader in terms of the goalkeeping room. I mean, goaltending room. Sorry, some soccer slipped in there, but hopefully he can keep this level of play up. 1.95, maybe that's asking a lot, but if he can be in the low twos, I definitely would take that. Um, Amongst those three players, like I said, Marchand coming back early has definitely given the team a lift. DeBrusque, I've liked what he's done. Um, Matt Grzelcyk as another defender uh, has been pretty good. So I think the biggest thing with this team is because of some of the, I'll say, advanced age of some of their stars, health is going to be something that we're going to see all season. I really have to pay attention to. And I don't know, maybe if this is the last ride with the core group of Marchand, Bergeron, Krejci being together, hopefully it goes out with a bang because right now, like I said, they look like the best team in the Eastern Conference. God, to be honest with you, I haven't seen a lot of Vegas Golden Knight games, so I can't, confidently say that the Bruins are the best team in hockey. But in terms of the Eastern Conference, I can say that. And they probably are the best team in hockey, but I don't want to, get too far ahead of myself. Now, I guess off the ice, what I do like was this whole situation with, I got to pull up the name, Mitchell Miller. Um, don't know the story. The Bruins signed him like last week or something. He had some issues when he was in school with bullying another teammate and all that kind of stuff. And then, kind of out of the blue, I saw that the Bruins signed him. I didn't know a lot about him when they signed him, so I looked it up, and that was the backstory. But that's not even the part I'm talking about. But I liked the fact that Bruins players were stepping up, voicing their not outrage, but their um, displeasure. We'll put it that way in the signing, saying that what Miller did doesn't stand well within the locker room. Because they understand Bruins culture. They have serious questions about implementing a guy like that with that history in his past into that locker room and then trying to make it seem like, yeah, he's part of the family now and all that kind of stuff. So I like the fact that they understood what the Miller signing was about. They didn't like it and they voiced it to the media, which, you got to give them a lot of credit for because it led to a change. Because a couple of days after, Miller was waived or Cam Neely went back on the signing or whatever. Either way, he wasn't on the Bruins. And then, of course, Cam Neely came out and said that probably the biggest mistake he's made, as a, what is he? Is he the GM, I think? And, I can understand making mistakes, but that could have been a monumental mistake that could have derailed the um, good vibes coming from this team. Because, like I said, right now, early on in the season, looks like a team that's playing well together. The mix of vets and youth seem to be blending really well. And if they can keep this up, no reason they can't be cup contenders. Now, before the season, I did think the Bruins were going to be a playoff team. I kind of had them slotted in as probably like second, third in the division. Definitely one of the top three in the Atlantic. Um, so, I mean, so far, yes, I like what I'm seeing. Am I even surprised? I got to say, I didn't see them being a 2-0 team at this point, but I like it. They, like I said, they got talent up front. Taylor Hall, who I didn't even mention as well, he's looked good to start the season. So they have guys who can put the puck in the back of the net. They've got some physicality as well to go with that. Um, I mean, they just got Charlie McAvoy back last game. He gave them a goal, so the defense might shake out a little bit differently now, and um, we might see guys look even better in the role that they should have been in because McAvoy, coming into the season, all things considered, he probably would have been your number one defenseman. But Lindholm had to be that with McAvoy out. So now Lindholm becomes your second best, and he's really good. He's the number one guy. But interesting to see what that looks like going forward. McAvoy and Lindholm. Do they just become the most dominant defensive pairing in the league? Who knows? But like I said, definitely like what I'm seeing. Loved the players speaking out with the whole Miller signing. That stuff that we need to see a lot more of because players definitely have a voice in the locker room. And I think at times players are a little bit hesitant to talk about a new acquisition in that kind of light because, I guess it's expected of them to give the player a chance in the locker room. But, if I think players know if a player is going to work or not. So why let it get to the point where you try to fake it in the locker room? And I mean, the Miller thing is definitely uh, a rarity, maybe circumstance because it's not every day every team are signing guys with the kind of pass Miller had. So, but when something like that does happen, I appreciate hearing players speak out. But you guys let me know if you're a Bruins fan or not. Do you agree with me that they're the best team in the East? And was there any player I didn't really mention that you want to shout out as being a big part of the success? And do you think that the Bruins can hold up and stay as a top team in the Atlantic and the East throughout the whole season? Do you think this is the last time for the Bergerons, Marchands, Krejcis in the Bruins organization? But yeah, hopefully we'll talk a lot more Bruins throughout the season. Um, yeah, I probably should. Like I said, I've watched a good amount of their games. Like what I'm seeing, so if they keep it up, definitely will talk about them in a positive light throughout the season. But thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. If you did, you already know what to do. All that. Uh, thumbs up, thumbs down if you want. Like, subscribe, share it with somebody. Follow Facebook. Um, Also follow me on Twitter at Chompin Podcast. And all the places to find me. But before I get out of here, let you know as well. Tuesday, Thursday nights, Sports Empire Network. Whether it's the Big Three podcast on Tuesday nights at 7 Pregame Pigskin Thursday nights at 7. You can check me out there. So if I don't upload an episode on here, that's where you can find me those days. Um, yeah, JJL Sports Talk Show Friday nights at 8:15 ish. Once again, check me out there. If you need to see some more of me and you've run out of videos on here, check me out over there. But um, yeah, those are two places you can find me outside of here. So definitely put myself out there. So if you, like I said, don't see an episode on here, go over those places. You can find a recent episode there as well. But thanks again. As I always say, be safe out there. God bless. And I'll catch you next episode. All right. I'm out. Have a good one.